My name is Senator Bello Mandia. I represent Katna South. Urgent need for federal government to take drastic actions to bring to an end to the act of banditry and kidnapping in the local government area of Katna State. The Senate notes that the act of banditry and kidnapping has become a daily incident now in Katsina, with its consequence of loss of lives, means of livelihood, and displacement of communities. Further notes that on Sunday, 31st January 2022, government struck Rongodia, a community in the local government area of Katsina State, where 38 members of the community were kidnapped. Aware that the federal government had made frantic effort in curbing the menace by setting up Operation Sharandaji, an interagency task force to tackle cases of banditry, cattle rustling, and kidnapping in Katsina State. Worried that the continuous security challenges and related attacks by bandits on towns, villages, communities in the local government area have meted untold hardship on the people and have subjected the affected areas under serious survival threat. And further worried that if this menace is not drastically promptly addressed, the consequence is going to be huge on food sufficiency, since the affected communities are mostly farmers. Accordingly resolves to all the security agencies to come all non-hideouts of the kidnappers in a bid to rescue the 38 persons abducted by the government in Rongodia. 2, urge the federal government to send enough military personnel, fighter jets, to apprehend the bandits and restore normalcy in these areas. I so move, Mr. President.
Thank you. Senator Kabir.
I'm Senator Kabir Abdullahi Barkia, representing. I rise to support very important motion.
Yes.
Mr. President, I can say that enough is enough. Because what is happening now in Katsina, this shows that yes, we have to not only condemn it, we have to do something very serious. Because we cannot just sit down after declaring these bandits, terrorists, and then allow them again to continue with all these rubbish acts. So, Mr. President, we have to really look at it critically. I suggest that, yes, to me, I'm saying that, yes, the security agent, of course, maybe we assume that they are doing their best, but to me, I think that they need to do another best. Because look at 38 people. How can they just go and kidnap 38 people? After declaring these people as terrorists, why can't we just hear the few civilians in the bush and go and burn all of them there? Because we have to do something. Just condemning every day is not enough. So, Mr. President, I'm calling not only just condemning or maybe ask, maybe say Neymar to do something. We have to definitely look at it and then do something seriously. To me, it's just to go to all those buildings. We know where they are. Everybody knows where they are located. Why can't we go there and try that the few civilians will stand with them and then bomb all of them? I think that's the only solution remain there. Thank you very much, Mr. President, and distinguished colleagues.
Distinguished Senator.
Thank you, Mr. President, distinguished colleagues. I remain Muhammad Adamu Alero, representing Kebbi Central. Mr. President, I rise to support this very important motion. It is indeed a national disgrace that this thing is happening on a daily basis. Something needs to be done urgently. And our security forces have to be encouraged, have to be supported. If it is issue of lack of manpower, Mr. President, we should recruit more policemen to ensure that every part of this country we have enough security agents to take care of this menace. If it is the issue of recruitment in the army, we should also do the same. We have provided support to the security agents. I could remember last year alone, on supplementary appropriation, we approved over 865 billion naira. And this year's budget, I know we have close to about 1.2 trillion naira. Mr. President, we are spending so much, and we are getting little in terms of, the outcome. By now, we are supposed to have a very peaceful country. But unfortunately, on daily basis. We hear people being kidnapped, we hear people being people being killed. Like my colleague said, enough is enough. There is need for security agents to do whatever is humanly possible to curb this situation. It is a national disgrace and things need to be done. I urge all my colleagues to support this very important motion. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. President. Distinguished colleagues. The issue of banditry in this country has assumed a very alarming proportion, Mr. President. Every day we hear of kidnapping, and it is said, Mr. President, that when Kaduna South, Katsina South sneezes, Kaduna North catches cold. I border Katsina South, and what is happening today is, to say the least, very disturbing. 2 days ago, Mr. President, distinguished colleagues, a woman, a very industrious one, sold some farm items, and the bad boys around her neighborhood went and informed these bandits. They came at night to shoot at the husband, who, upon hearing the movements of these bandits, came out with a den gun to try to put them off him. And the woman was equally taken along, kidnapped. And few meters from the house, Mr. President, distinguished colleagues, she was equally shot at, and the leg was broken and dumped there in the pool of her blood. The testimonies we have been receiving around the country are really testimonies that should get us moving. And I'm tempted to ask, Mr. President, distinguished colleagues, where are the Tucano fighter jets that were recently acquired by the federal government and heavily celebrated by all of us, that these bandits have really come home to roost? Unfortunately, we are now being told that Nigeria will need a second layer of approval for it to use these Tucano fighter jets against these bandits that we have all agreed should be termed terrorists. I think, Mr. President, distinguished colleagues, the whole nation should rise and get whatever that is needed to be gotten for the use of this fighter jet on these bandits for us to move forward. We should, as a nation, rise and get secure this approval from wherever it can be gotten. Mr. President, in Kaduna today, 9 people are kidnapped daily. We just came out of a security summit that reports were taken across. So I assume that this is something that must be done and should be taken with all seriousness. Mr. President, distinguished colleagues, I sympathize with my colleague from Katsina State and do hope that we will be hearing less and less of such incidences across the country. Thank you, Mr. President.
Senator Sanusa.
Thank you, Mr. President. My distinguished colleagues, I want to contribute on this motion, which is very important to the survival of the peasant farmers we have, especially in my constituency. Just 2 days back, there was renewed attacks in my district where so many people, including the security personnel, were killed. And from what I heard reliably is that this attack was done by members of the Boko Haram. Because what happened is like they joined the villagers in the mosques. They joined the villagers in the mosques, and when the villagers now identify some of them and neutralize them, these people now came back and attacked the whole village of Galadima Kogu. So I think what happened in Faskari local government is just reminiscent of what is happening around Niger East Senatorial District. And I want the federal government to direct and order the armed forces to re-strategize. Because whenever they are in one location, these people move freely on their motorbikes. You will see them in numbers, 200, 300. And I cannot believe that we don't have any imaginary instruments that will be able to locate these people when they are moving in just such a large batch. So I think the military need to wake up and do the needful. That is my contribution, Mr. President. Thank you.
Distinguished colleagues, let's go to the prayers. Security agencies to comb all known hideouts of the kidnappers in a bid to rescue the 38 persons abducted by the gunmen in Ruangodia. Those in favor say aye. Aye. Those against say nay. And prayer 2, urge the federal government to send enough military personnel and fighter jets to apprehend the bandits and restore normalcy in these areas. Those in favor of this prayer say aye. Aye. Those against say nay. The ayes have it.